of the niche that we have been focusing on, in fact, for a long time, and continue to be actually a niche that is growing, is the maritime segment. We have actually since the 80s provide maritime satellite communications to the vessels, starting with the narrowband Inmarsat services, and now progressing to currently broadband Inmarsat services, as well as maritime VSAT solutions using our global KU, C-band, and recently we just launched the Inmarsat GX Ka-band VSAT services as well. It is one of the segments that has been growing over the years. I think primarily driven by companies, shipping companies, progressing towards more automation, more data being used. So we see actually a big shift from voice to data, which then drives the demand for bandwidth. And we think this will be a niche that will continue to grow in the satellite segment. Yes, I think the maritime segment is the people who handles the communications traditionally has been ship superintendents or ship operations managers, who frankly do not know much about communications, and their priorities is very much about being low cost, just get my call through, and not much emphasis about how the network actually works, how it can help them in terms of their operations. And so that takes a lot of convincing for them to actually take on the latest technology. But we see this slowly changing because companies are now entrusting this part of the job to IT professionals. So recently, the last couple of years, we see more and more IT managers, IT directors taking over from these superintendents in terms of setting up the communications infrastructure, including the communications on board the ship. And I think that augurs well for us because these IT professionals knows more about how to set up a network and what is actually the most cost-effective, most operational efficient network. And frankly, that relieves a bit of pressure about pricing. And it's all about total cost of ownership. It's all about how the network, how the connectivity can improve their efficiency. So I think that really fits in well nicely for us in terms of bringing on the new broadband services that I mentioned previously. And we hope this will continue and we'll engage more and more of these IT professionals in the maritime market. By far, the maritime shipping companies are still pretty conservative in nature. They are not willing to take a lot of risk in new technologies. And unfortunately, communications cost is always a small, very tiny part of their whole operations in terms of the ship. And they tend to focus less on that. And you need a lot of convincing, of all this top management of the shipping company to actually embrace the new technology. And this is one of the challenges we are facing. And as I said previously, with IT managers on board now taking care of even the ship communications, we are slowly seeing more, opening up of, their views, of the company's views in terms of embracing new technology. And I think that's why we are seeing a lot of success in our Inmarsat Fleet broadband services, where more and more companies now are moving out from the old narrowband services to the new broadband because they feel the kind of data throughput, the kind of connectivity they can get, the IP connectivity they can get is helping them to improve their shipping operations. And I think slowly this segment will open up, and that's where I think we need to introduce more and more new technology and innovations to them. Just for recently, we teamed up with Inmarsat, our principal, to actually launch we're going to launch a cybersecurity solution tailored for the shipping companies. And that is to allay their fears about the current trend in cybersecurity concerns that a lot of companies have. Yeah, so these are the kind of innovations we hope to put more and more through to the shipping companies to help them to embrace the new technologies. Mobile play is currently still a big part of our business, and we think it will continue to be a big part of our business. And we hope to grow that pie as well, especially in the M2M, the machine-to-machine kind of communications, because we see a lot of potential in that. It's still untapped market to a certain extent, especially in the shipping companies, where only recently people talk about remote monitoring, remote management of the vessels, monitoring all the operational points on the vessels, and I think that has a lot of untapped potential. And I mean, one of the research firm Markets has estimated that the M2M market is going to grow from $3 billion US in 2015, to 6 billion by 2020. Well, that's a high CAGR growth of about 12%, and a lot of potential in that. And we also not discounting, getting into the aviation market as well, because that I think is another sector that is relatively untapped but huge potential. We used to be in that market, I think, prior to the 2000s. We operated a service from 1990s to the 2000s, where we shut it down because it was a technology ahead of its demand. But I think recently the kind of progress made in the technology has made the in-flight communications more cost-effective. And I'm not, as I said, not discounting getting into that segment, because I think that offers probably, besides maritime, the next largest mobility market for satellite.